people going to think of our new buttermilk crispy chicken? Let's find out.
It's probably the best sandwich I've ever had.
It's super crispy, but it's also really juicy.
So would you guys come back? Yep.
Yeah.
Definitely. Well, here's our card. The location is on the back. It's McDonald's? What? What?
Oh, get out
No way.
Wait, seriously?
Try some buttermilk crispy chicken. It's right around the corner at McDonald's. Buttermilk.
Good morning. Welcome to Ask the Coach here on WCLU. Joe Myers, joined by Glasgow head football coach Jeff Garman, as his ball club got their third victory of the season last night. 3-2 on the year now, a 13-0 victory over the Warren East Raiders there at Warren East High School. And Jeff, we talked in the post game last night, and maybe a game that wasn't as pretty as you'd like it to be, but bottom line is you got your third win of the year.
Yeah, and we're excited about that. I mean, I don't know if there is such a thing as a bad win, so we're excited to get our third win of the season, and thought we had some really good individual performances, and I thought we had an overall pretty good team performance too.
You faced a Warren East team that had not won a game yet, but I tell you, just watching those kids out there on the field, Jeff, they had a number of good athletes and made things challenging for you guys.
Yeah, they had kind of, from what I'd watched on the film, they had moved the football on a lot of people all season long, and just for one reason or another had trouble finding the end zone, and it seems like they've had more trouble on defense than they've had giving up some points. So, it was a good team effort on defense. Thought we had a good plan, and I also thought, we had a lot of guys swarming to the ball and able to do it. I felt like probably the one thing that went unnoticed in the whole game, when I say unnoticed, we talk about individual performances, and I thought Dalvin was a big difference in the game, his punting. I mean, he really got off some good punts, and I know he had one long for 60 yards, and we kind of kept them pinned back there. He had a kickoff that went into the end zone, so we really won the battle of field position tonight, and that hasn't always been the case most of the year.
Did a nice job of kicking away from the Reynolds kid, who was back probably 80% of the time to return the punts. He's a dangerous returner. Did a nice job of kicking away from it.
Yeah, he was getting that kickoff tonight that was kind of an end over end kick, and got a lot of good rolls, and it surely helped us because we kept them pinned back most of the game.
You look at your running game. I know that's something you guys have really been trying to work on, Jeff, trying to improve your running game. And Kyle Nixon, I thought, had a really good night, particularly in the first half. Things slowed down for him in the second half, but he winds up with 96 yards, had a long run of 24, had his, I think, second touchdown of the season. Kyle, he I thought showed some flashes tonight of what he could be.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle did a good job tonight. So that tells me, too, that the offensive line played pretty well in that first half. They were opening up some holes, and Kyle was using his speed to get through there, and he looked good. I was wanting him to get 4 more yards. I was wanting him to get 100, and that would have been a big accomplishment for him. But 96 ain't too shabby.
Well, let's talk about the difference from the first half to the second half, because the first half, obviously, is particularly the first 2 drives, Jeff. You guys looked very sharp on offense. Second half, though, obviously the offense struggled a little bit as we wind up. We had 166 total yards at halftime. We finished the game with 221. What was the difference? Just, I know you haven't had a chance to watch film yet or anything like that, but just watching from the sideline, what did you see different from the offense from the first half to that second half?
It seemed like we had a bad play somewhere in every series in that second half. It could have been a penalty, could have been where we snapped the ball a little high one time, but just multiple plays, or it could be a running play that didn't get any yards, and it ended up putting us in 3rd and longs. And I thought Desi was pretty efficient all night long, 11 for 16 for 100 yards. It's not too bad. He threw an interception tonight, but, I really don't count that one. That was right before half, and we were throwing it deep, and it's about the same thing to equate as a punt. So, we took care of the football, and I thought Desi was pretty efficient tonight overall.
And that one interception, Jeff, hard to believe, and something we probably have not talked enough about on these shows, but that's the first interception Desi has thrown all year long. It didn't come until Game 5. And as much as he's throwing the football this year, that's pretty good.
Pretty impressive. And you know, he's made pretty good decisions all year long. Seems like he's getting a little bit of pressure here in the last couple of games, and I don't know if he's feeling a little bit. Seems like he's moving around in the pocket a little bit more than he was earlier in the year. So that's something we need to look at. But one thing that I stressed this week that I wanted was, you know, I wanted to cut down on our incomplete passes, and he sure did that. So, you know, we'll go back to the practice field this week and we'll watch film, you know, and we'll try to get better.
Let's talk about your defense. Obviously, you get your first shutout of the year. I know, you know, as a head coach, I got to be proud of the kids, the way they play on the defensive side of the ball. Anytime you put a goose egg up like that, it makes you happy. You
know, that's kind of what we've been accustomed to around here, getting a few shutouts every year, and it was nice to get one. I will admit that, but I just thought we played overall good team defense. It wasn't one person sticking out just to me and just saying, you know, he had an exceptional night tonight. I thought we had a lot of guys with a lot of good performances, and we were using some different personnel just a little bit, trying to match up with their athleticism a little bit, and I thought what we did was effective.
Willie Reynolds was their leading rusher on the year going into that game, Jeff, but you guys hold him to 74 yards on 19 carries, so just a little over 3 yards per attempt for him. I thought you guys did a nice job against the tailback.
Yeah, and you know, it takes multiple people, and you know, I see where they got 68 plays to our 49. One thing that we would like to see, we need to increase our number of plays. We need to get more opportunities on offense, and you know, they kind of kept the ball there that third quarter from us. They ran a fake punt, which was about 1.5 yards, 2 yards out, and they were able to convert that and ran off 2 or 3 first downs, I think, in that series. And we were able to stop them on 4 downs after that. But, you know, offensively, I like to see us be able to run a few more plays. I think, you know, this offense is designed to work fast, and it's getting opportunities, and we've been kind of stuck here around running between 50 and 55 plays. We'd like to see that up to about 70 plays a game.
If you look at halftime, you look at the number of plays, Jeff, it's 32-32. So you're right there with them. But as we talked about the struggles of your offense in that second half, really allowed you only 17 plays in that third and fourth quarter.
Right, and you know, if we look back, it's 32 plays. Time of possession was 14 minutes to about 10 minutes. So, I mean, the game played out exactly the way we wanted it to in the first half, you know. And then I talked about it on the post game. You know, we had another opportunity to try to score with about 2 or 3 minutes left in the first half, and you know, we've been deferring to the second half to get the football. So when we do that, you know, you've got a chance to double up right there. If you can put 2 possessions back to back, you can kind of put the game kind of out of reach a little bit in that situation. And we haven't been able to deliver on that right there at the end of the first half. And it seems like, to me, it may carry over a little bit to the second half, because we haven't gotten a good drive on the second half to start the series. When we're deferring, we're having opportunities to make adjustments at halftime, so we kind of know what we want to do that second half. And it seems like the last 2 games we've kind of had a penalty to start off that series in the second half and kind of shoot ourselves in the foot.
Going back to your defense for just a minute, they had a big challenge in trying to stop the quarterback, Patrick Satterfield. He winds up just 1 yard shy of 100 yards, and most of his damage, Jeff, came on broken plays, or at least plays where he would extend the play. He would go back to pass and couldn't find a receiver, so he'd just take off running, and that's really probably what their best offense was tonight, was just kind of letting him run around back there in the pocket and then take off down the field.
It's another back. You know, I kind of classify him as a running back that's getting 25 to 30 carries a game. Sure, he got almost 100 yards, but it took him 25 carries to get that. I thought with the Reynolds kid, I thought we did a pretty good job of keeping him bottled up all night long. I thought Stephen and Bird Stephen Franklin, Gavin Bird did a pretty good job of squeezing on those stretch plays and on those zone plays and making some plays there. And I just thought overall, our defensive line played a little better. Thought our linebackers, I thought Henry, is continuing to get better every week. There were some situations Severio had some opportunities in open field to make some plays, and that guy, he's tough. He's tough to defend in open field, and but we ran to the football. And as a defense, if you'll run to the football, good things will happen. And I just thought overall we played a pretty solid football game on defense.
You mentioned Stephen Franklin, and Stephen was actually our player of the game last night. We thought he played really well from the defensive line. He winds up with 7 tackles, had a big sack on the night, now leads the team with 4 sacks on the year. And Stephen is just such a huge key for you guys. If he's playing well down there on the defensive line, it really does a lot for your defense.
And, Stephen's got a tough job. We expect so much from him, and we expect him, almost to our fault or our own, to come out and dominate almost every week. And it's tough. He's getting double teamed. He's getting triple teamed on some plays. And when his motor's going and when he's in tune, he's a pretty solid defensive football player for high school level. And, he's got all the tools that it takes. He's got the strength. He's got the speed. I'm sure he wishes he was a little bit taller, but he can't help that. That's what he's got. And I think Stevens played pretty solid all year long.
Another thing that stood out to me tonight is it seemed like there were some really good hits. You guys seemed to be pretty aggressive defensively, delivered some good shots at the end of the play.
We tried to be a little more aggressive this week in practice. And when I said that, we were going to spend some time working on ourselves and getting our entire game better, we opened it up and we went a lot more contact in our special teams this week during practice and trying to get the guys to be more physical and had a real good physical practice, I thought, on Tuesday. And we've got to continue to try to do that. There's a fine line there. We're in that 5th, 6th week, of the season game, and we want to be healthy going into our district schedule, and that's the biggest thing. You got to have all your horses there if you want to run in the race. And there's a fine line in practice of what you can do and what you can't do. And these guys get pretty beat up on Friday nights. I mean, we're undersized as it is. So, we just try to do our best to try to get better in practice each day.
We'll come back in just a minute, look at the drive chart from last night's 13-0 victory for Glasgow over Warren East. We're back after this on WCLU.